Martha was as scared of Mother as I was, but Abby didn't seem to share our fear. I envied her sometimes, not just because she seemed fearless, but also because of the way Martha would smile at her when they didn't think I was watching. Martha and Abby acted differently than Mother and I did. I couldn't help but wish I had a mother who was kind to me that way. When I finished the main floor, I wiped the sweat from my brow and headed for the large supply closet at the end of the hall to get what I needed for the second floor. Inside the closet, I refilled my... Are you okay? Okay. I refilled my bucket from the utility sink, grabbed another brush, and took the broom with me so I wouldn't have to come back down for it. They're just two pages left, or 4, so I thought I'll just finish it. Okay. Balancing it all was tricky, but I tucked the broom handle under my arm and held the bucket and brush in either hand, then headed towards the stairs that rose from the mansion's large marbled lobby. Normally, I would use the back staircase reserved for servants, but it was narrow, and I wouldn't make it through with all I was carrying. And the front stairs were much faster, and I couldn't waste any time. The main stairs were accented with 2 tall pillars and a massive chandelier. To the right was a sitting room with ugly pink couches and matching curtains that always smelled like dust. To the left, the library was filled with aging books, a massive oak desk, and chairs covered in yellow flowery fabric. Everything was in shadow, thanks to the always drawn curtains. At least it was clean, thanks to me. I was 4 steps up when I heard the voice that sent a shiver through my bones. I turned my head slowly and saw Mr. Pruitt stand from one of the library chairs, phone pressed to his ear. He was home. Mother always told me when he would be home, so I knew to keep clear of him. But she'd said nothing. If I had known, I wouldn't have dared to use the front stairs. Mother would be furious if she knew. His back was to me. Maybe if I hurry, I thought, I could make it up and out of his sight before he sees me. Heart racing, I moved quickly. I was 3 steps from the top before I dared a glance back to make sure Mr. Pruitt hadn't spotted me. That was a mistake. The toe of my worn tennis shoe clipped the edge of the next step. Water splashed from the bucket as I tried to recover my balance. I overcorrected and nearly toppled to the side. The broom under my arm slipped free and crashed down the stairs. Fear gripped my chest. The bang had been loud, too loud. I carefully placed the bucket down and tiptoed to retrieve the broom, not daring to look towards the library. "I'll call you back," Mr. Pruitt snapped. My pulse surged. I grabbed the broom and straightened to see Mr. Pruitt dark stare at the bottom of the steps. He was tall and thin, with pale wrinkled skin and a large pointed nose that jutted out below squinty eyes. I wasn't sure if I should move. I dared not do anything that would add to the trouble I was already in. "Priscilla!" Mr. Pruitt thundered. A door shut somewhere, followed by the clicking of heels against the wooden floor. And then Mother was in the hall, staring up at me. Her face darkened, and she hurried to her husband's side. "I'm so sorry, darling. What part of I never want to see or hear from this child was not understood?" Mr. Pruitt interrupted. "Forgive me. I allowed her to live under my roof and eat my food, and all I ask is that she obey the rules. She's an ungrateful, disobedient, worthless burden." Not wanting her to pay the price for my mistake, I dared speak. "I'm sorry. It was my fault." "Do not speak to me," Mr. Pruitt roared. He faced Mother. "If you can't keep her in line, then mark my words, I will send her to an institution where she belongs." He stormed away. My hands trembled at my sides. Before Mother could speak, the massive front door opened. Martha and her daughter walked in with bundles of firewood in hand. They stopped at the sight of us, looking at me with pity. "Don't you dare look at her," Mother snapped. "She doesn't deserve your concern or attention. Until she can learn to behave, no one is allowed to look at her. Is that understood?" Martha dipped her head. She and Abby rushed across the entryway and out of sight. Tears stung my eyes, and I did my best to hide them. They would only infuriate Mother more. "Crying makes you ugly," Mother would say. "How could you?" Mother demanded, glaring up at me. "I didn't know." "Don't make excuses," she huffed. "I'm doing my best, Millie. Doing everything I can to mold you into someone worth something. But you seem intent on doing the opposite. I don't know how much more of your disappointment I can take." "I'm sorry, Mother. Do you know how hard you make it to love you?" she snapped. "Maybe Augustus is right. Maybe you're just an ungrateful, worthless burden. You should be ashamed of yourself." A tear slipped down my cheek, but I couldn't wipe it away without being obvious. "Go to your room until you're told otherwise." Then she left me alone on the stairs, with tears snaking down my face. End of chapter 1.